Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jake Stefanich from SparkBMXTraining.com. I had one of my online clients. I programmed some single leg squats and like lunges and different varieties of that kind of stuff into his workout programs this month. And when we were talking back and forth, asking him how his program's going and stuff, he told me that he was experiencing quite a bit of knee pain. He's had this from like when he's done single leg stuff in the past. So he thinks it's the single leg stuff. He does a little bit better with squats and deadlifts and stuff like that done on 2 feet rather than one, which makes sense based on some certain things that I'm going to talk about now. It's not that the exercises are bad, it's just they're bad for his body currently, so we're going to change some stuff. So this video is actually for him, but it's going to be very relevant to a lot of people, like almost all humans actually. So the pattern that he is in, so like we see a lot of different patterns, like not everyone looks exactly the same, but underneath it all, we all share like very similar things. So we've got like our heart on one side, liver on the other, diaphragm shapes, like the muscle in the middle of our body, which is kind of like top of our core, they all tend to be in a certain pattern. If you look, especially a lot of BMXers that I see, and I remember when I was younger, racing a lot, I had big ribs, like you could see a lot of rib flare. So if you look in the mirror, you can see a ton of ribs. They're not necessarily supposed to look like that. You're not supposed to see a ton of ribs. And then if you look close enough, you might see that your left rib is a little bit more prominent than your right rib. So that's very, very normal. It's not optimal, but it is normal. You also might see a lot of people stand on one side more than the other, and typically it's their right hip. So their right hip will kind of be higher, they'll stand here. A lot of times their right shoulder is down too. So this is the pattern that we see. Now some people develop, they progress into this pattern and it becomes worse and worse, or to different varying degrees, and it can cause problems. Sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, so I'm gonna show you a couple things that we can do to either make that pattern less, make it a little bit better for you. You may not ever totally get rid of that pattern, but it might make like single leg stuff bearable and not painful at least, or maybe we could completely clear it up. I've totally seen that by doing this with some of my clients in the gym. But also, we'll start to develop better core function and everything. So we do stuff like on one side that we don't do on the other as far as like core exercises. I notice like people doing different things. Like if, say, they have to plank and they pick up one hand, they'll be okay, but if they plank and pick up the other hand, they'll wiggle around a lot and stuff. So you can see how that could develop on your bike. So when we pedal with one foot, it does something, but when we pedal with the other, you might not have the core strength or whatever. So we're going to go through all this. So first thing we're going to talk about is breathing. Breathing seems kind of weird, like we know how to breathe, but we don't know how to breathe correctly, and more often than not, people are hyperinflated, so they have way too much air in, and that's kind of what's causing those big rib flares. Now we'll see more rib flare on the left side than the right side based on a few things, like it could be like brain, like the way that the brain is set up, diaphragm, the diaphragm pulls us into a particular pattern more on one side than the other, different attachment points like that. So breathing is extra critical because if you're breathing really poorly, it just pulls you into that pattern even harder. And we breathe like somewhere around 20,000 times a day. So you can imagine if you do anything poorly 20,000 times, it's gonna have some kind of effect on you, some kind of bad effect on you. So we're gonna learn how to breathe. So we're gonna keep this very simple today. I want you to put your hands on your ribs like this. Feel your ribs. A lot of people, I can feel my ribs, they're kind of sticking up here. So our ribs are open like this. A lot of times they're open more on one side, usually our left side, right? So all we're gonna do is do a full exhale. We just go, kind of like you're blowing out birthday candles almost, like a big sigh. I want you just to feel those ribs come down. So they're gonna kind of come down, come together, and come back. Think about making yourself thin through the center, right here in your sternum area. Let those ribs come down together. So full exhale, you want to get everything out, and I want you to pause for 3 seconds before you take a breath in. Take the tongue, make that little clicking sound, like that. Put it on the roof of your mouth, but don't make that clicking sound. So as we exhale, while we're pausing, tongue's on the roof of your mouth, hold it there for 3 seconds, take a relaxed breath in, but when you do, keep those hands on your ribs. I don't want those ribs to flare open, so we're just going. So we're going to breathe in, relax. I don't want to hear any of you breathe, so I don't want to hear like that. Just nice relaxed breath in. Fill up this area. Don't let the ribs come apart. Full exhale. And you really want to focus on getting this left rib down and keeping it down. So you get extra credit points. You might feel a little bit more left abs to keep those ribs down. Now, this is important to drive us out of that pattern and get us back a little bit more neutral. So by exhaling, getting this left rib down, you can see that if I go, I lightly shift my weight over to my left side again, just by getting that rib down. So if we're always here, you can see how I always like to stand down here. Okay? So that's it. So we're going to practice that exhaling, getting those ribs down, letting them come down and together. I know we're not always going to be able to stay like that, but in this case, we're just going to exhale, get those ribs down, and just learn how to do that for right now. We can go into more and more of this kind of breathing stuff as we go on, but for right now, that's all we're going to do. Now we're going to use this breathing into this next exercise, and this is going to hopefully help us get our pelvis into a better position so we can do single leg training and not have those knee problems. So what you're going to do, you're going to get towards the edge of a bench like this. Right? We're going to put our left foot into the ground, and we're going to raise our right leg up like this. So you've got to have a bench that's about high enough for you to be, what you want to see is full hip extension. We don't want to be too high or we're extended too far. We just want to be about knee, hip, shoulder, all in line. We're going to get up here. Probably notice that if you just go like this, you'll see a ton of ribs. So same things we were just doing. Make those ribs disappear. Keep them down as you take a breath in. So now I want driving through this foot, this left heel especially, right? Feel that left heel. We're going to get, you should feel a little bit of butt. You should feel some hamstrings. Ribs down, full exhale. So now from here, I want you just to keep that drive. We're going to breathe in through our nose, relax breath in, keep those ribs down. Exhale out fully. Pause. Tongue on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in. Again, breathe in. And that's it. That's it for the exercise. What we're trying to do is kind of realign the pelvis, get our left side into a better position to work. And a lot of times that's going to give us the hip range of motion that we need to kind of make our single leg stuff work a little bit better. Give this stuff a try. Practice the breathing. Practice that single leg thing before you do, like maybe even before you go into the gym. But do it as often as you like. And then just see if anything feels better as you go on with this kind of stuff. Notice if the rib flare, you start noticing like your posture a little bit more. It's also going to help kick on some abs and create some more, some better functioning ab muscles. So that's it. I rambled on enough today, but breathing, this stuff sounds kind of funny. It's super important. Breathing is the most important thing you can do.